Wood Elves are the third and final race of elves that are currently in the game. They are really quick. They have one of the two best, arguably best pieces in the game in their war dancers. They can run, they can pass, they can dodge, they can score against you every 2 turns like clockwork, and there's very little you can really do about it if you just sort of have to pray to Nuffle that they roll ones. Their weaknesses are, again, like all elves, they are extremely expensive. They have no armor at all. They're armor 7, all of them, which means they die super easily. And their war dancers are so expensive that they can't actually afford any of their other positionals. But I mean, that doesn't really matter because their war dancers are great, but you know. I'd say Wood Elves are probably the hardest team of the 3 elves to have success with in Blood Bowl 2. You really need to manage your players very well because it's very easy for the war dancers to just steal all the skills and all the experience, and the rest of your team ends up with nothing. There are a couple of builds that actually rely on that, but they're a bit cheesy, and I'm not really going to go into them because I don't want to propagate that as a way of playing Blood Bowl.
What is it?
You basically only have 2 war dancers. You fire the rest of your squad and play with loners for the rest of it.
Oh, that's pretty dirty.
It's stupid. I really don't like it because basically the war dancers end up with so much experience that their value is sky high, and the only way to keep the value down is to actually fire all the rest of your players. It's kind of stupid. I don't enjoy it at all as a concept. Let's take a look at their players. The Wood Elves actually have 3 positionals. You will very rarely see the catchers or the throwers. The catchers are really good. Let's talk about the elephant in the room though, the War Dancer. This guy is the scariest piece you will ever see. He's really quick, he's really agile, he's really squishy, he's got blodge, which means he only gets knocked down on a 6 from any player unless they have tackle. And he has leap, which means he can jump over people, which makes him excellent at breaking into cages. It makes him excellent at getting through little minefield screens of tackle zones that people put down to try and stop elves. He's an all-round scary man. He's one of the... He's going to blitz you, he's going to run away from you, he's going to score against you, and there's very little you can actually do to play against it. The only thing you can do is kill it. A downed War Dancer is a dead War Dancer because you will foul him every time. As you can see though, they're really expensive. They're 120,000 gold pieces each, which makes them pretty much irreplaceable early on. If your first couple of games as a Wood Elf team go badly and you lose both your War Dancers, your chances are not good. The War Dancer costs the same as their big guy, the Treeman. The Treeman is an interesting guy. He is the strongest of all the big guys in the game at the moment, I think. The Beast, I can't remember if the Beast is strength 5 or strength 6. He has take root, which means that every time he takes an action, he has to roll a dice. If he rolls a 1, he gets rooted into the ground, and will stay there until he gets knocked down. Pardon me. I don't like the Treeman. I think he's fun, but he's kind of worthless in an elf team. The thrower. I've never run a Wood Elf thrower. I don't really see too much point in it. They're expensive, and all they bring is pass. You might take one maybe later on as the team develops because you can get leader, which gives you a free reroll. Excellent. The catchers, these guys are actually potential 1-turners. They start with sprint, which means they can go for it 3 times. If you get them, which means they actually have the same movement base as a gutter runner. Which means if you get them a movement increase, they can become 1-turners very easily. They also have catch and dodge. All elves can throw and all elves can catch. It's nice to have free reroll though. because you don't start with many rerolls as an elf team. And their lineman is the same as all other elf linemen, except that he has movement 7 and armor 7. The wood elves die really quickly.
Yeah, with the strength or armor value 7 across the
Yep.
board, they're easy to kill.
Yep. And this is a tournament team that I would bring if I was to play wood elves in the tournament. Your 2 war dancers, and then you just fill the rest up with linemen. You can't really afford to have a thrower and a catcher, as well as your dudes, your war dancers. Also, you don't really want to give people too many targets to go after, and especially with the catcher is actually much easier to knock down than the war dancer, and if he gets knocked down, he will get fouled. Pretty much any knockdown wood elf will get fouled because they're so easy to hurt and they're so quick. You can only again start with 2 rerolls. Your playstyle as wood elves, you must not get into a fist fight with anyone. You'll get killed. You have to run away from them. You have to use your mobility. You have to use leap from the war dancers to get around walls and cages. On offense, you want to be trying to score quickly because it minimizes the amount of brawling you're going to have to do. And you're extremely capable at stealing the ball. So if you score quickly, chances are you might get a chance to steal the ball, because war dancers can leap into cages and get 1-die blitzes on ball carriers.
So if you're lucky though, and you do get that 6 on the war dancer, potentially maybe with like a Croxagore or something bigger, do you want to foul this thing?
Absolutely.
You want to foul a war dancer?
Absolutely. War dancers should be fouled at every opportunity. It's pretty much the only reliable way to get rid of them. Wood elves are not a difficult team through their complexity. They're a difficult team because a run of bad luck can really screw you. And if you lose a war dancer or both your war dancers in the first couple of games, you're never going to have enough money to rebuy them. And then you're just stuck with linemen who have no skills. And yeah, you can still win with that, but it's not a particularly fun way to play. And it's not a particularly reliable way to play. That's about it on the Wood Elves. They're a fun team. They're fun to play against. They can be extremely frustrating to play against.
And to play against them standardly, you just want to throw your units at them, try to
punch
bog them down.
Make them roll dice. It's the only way to beat elves. Bog them down, punch them, throw as much rocks and bayonets and bombs at them as you can, and I hope some of it sticks.